Hello, welcome to the Intentional Entrepreneur Podcast. I am thrilled to have our guest, Anna, on the podcast with us. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. We are going to be talking about what a role of an integrator, what an integrator is, how it can help you with in your business, and how it can help you really streamline and keep you in that CEO seat in your business, because that is one of Anna's specialties. But how about we get started? I would love to hear a little bit about who you are and who you help and how you help them.
Of course. So it's Anna Mills, and I work with businesses, with digital businesses, so business owners and their teams. And really, my goal is to elevate everyone in the team so that they can fulfill a higher place in the business. So the things that I typically do is I help them improve their processes. I help them with delegation. I help them delegate more effectively to ultimately achieve better results. And the whole goal really is to create more time for the CEO, for the business owner, so that they have time to do the things that only they can do, which is usually selling and coaching.
Awesome. And I would love to hear, I have some thoughts on the delegation piece, but before we go there, I'd love to hear a little bit about how you got started in that and how it kind of led to be, because I know I've talked to some people who have said, I'd really like to, I come from a teaching background, and I've talked to a few teachers who have said, I'd really love to become an integrator, but they don't know, like, it's not like a very common, I guess, path. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and how you got started.
Absolutely. So the whole thing started after I built a business to multi-six figures, and I was the CEO and the visionary and the assistant and all of the things.
All the things.
All the things for that business. And I was really happy. I built that business to a stage where I literally just automated the entire thing to a point that I was only working once a month, which was fantastic. But that made me very bored. I was just sitting at home, not really having a lot to do. And so one of the things that I realized was that my husband had been in the online space for a long time. But his business was mostly teaching one-to-one coaching sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was kind of trapped there.
Mm-hmm.
He really wanted to scale. And so I had that free time now in my hands, and I said to him, well, what about if we join forces? So, he was a little bit, I'm not so sure about this, would work, but in the end of the day, we decided to have a go. And really, he continued as the CEO, as the visionary, the person who really had that compass and, was deciding on the direction of the business. And then I came in really to try and make his vision a reality and kind of basically implementing everything that he was thinking, all the ideas that were coming into his head, and making sure that they were coming to reality. So I helped to scale his business as well to a multi-six-figure business a year, which is, I'm very proud of. And I've been doing that now with him for the last 8 years as the integrator.
Amazing. Oh, wow. That's so fantastic. And also, I love that bold move, because when I think about my husband, every once in a while, he'll give me some strategy because he's really naturally really good at that. He can think of he thinks in different ways, but joining forces, I think, would be a whole other challenge.
Yeah, I know. And we nearly killed each other in the beginning, but and it was a journey and I think it was a journey because I didn't really know what an integrator even was. So I didn't even at the start, I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. And so, it was really hard. I think, the listeners out there that probably maybe have an integrator or have a number two that might not be their other half, probably know it's already hard to have conversations and to have meetings and to kind of, have all of that stuff going on. Now imagine having that with your husband or with your wife, so that becomes extra hard.
Lots of communication there, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that is amazing that you were able to scale that one as well. So that is super exciting. And I think we can learn a lot from you. So let's start with, because I think some of my listeners will be, some of the people listening, this might be you, might be at a place where they're running their business. They might have a few VAs or contractors, and they're feeling a bit tight with their time, and they're trying to free themselves up so they can get to the next level. And then other people might have, a lot coming in, and they might be thinking about an integrator, and some people might just be at that like kind of VA stage. So let's start with, to you, how do you define what is an integrator for you?
Sure. Well, an integrator really is a term that was that Gino Wickman came up with in that book, Traction.
Yes.
But really, integrator is, the way that I describe it, is my right-hand person, my number two, the person that really is there with me at all times, making everything happen. So I have the ideas as the CEO, as the business owner, and then I have someone who I can count with 100%, who is actually going to take that vision, those ideas, and run with them and make sure that they get implemented.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And so we'll talk to different levels depending upon where people are at in their business. So say we're running our business full time, we might have a VA. What can we do to take advantage maybe of the idea of the integrator? Like, what's maybe something that we could get started if we're not quite ready to hire an integrator?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the situation where you're at. But really, the things that you want to start identifying is, are you working on your business or are you working in your business? So if you find yourself working too much in your business, chances are you're probably ready for an integrator. You're probably ready to get that number two. Because in the end of the day, if you're getting stuck in the nitty-gritty of all the admin daily, day-to-day tasks, then you're probably sacrificing the time that you could be spending on revenue generating activities. And instead, you're doing what we would call the $10 an hour tasks. And so you really want to be getting out of that place as soon as you possibly can. And the way to do that is by having an integrator, is by having a number two, is to have that right-hand person.
Yeah. And one thing that I would add to that as well, I completely agree with the $10 an hour task. Some of the clients I've worked with have felt so much pressure being in their business all the time that they feel scrambly, that they're just reacting to, and this might be you if you're listening, but reacting to this task and then this thing, and then I have this call, and then I've got this meeting, and you're always in this reactive kind of mode.
Oh,
and
so true. Yeah.
And the first thing I recommend clients do is kind of take a step back, look at how you're spending your day, plan it intentionally. And if you can even start to look at where your time is going and track it for a week or two, because then you can see where your time is escaping and where you might need to fill those holes. Because if you realize that you're spending an hour a day in emails, that can give you so much insight, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's kind of getting out of the reactive mode.
Yeah.
And really, you as a business owner, you need to be in the driving seat of the business. So if you're just, as you said, if you're just being reactive to everything that is coming at you, you're not in the driving seat. The outside world is in the drive seat of your business. So really, you want to be proactive. You want to be thinking about, okay, what is my next move? How am I going to make more sales? How am I going to improve my coaching calls so I can retain more members? Those really are the decisions and the things that you need to be thinking as a business owner that are essentially going to make you more money.
Absolutely. And when you can spend more time in those creative places, problem solving, so you're not in that fight or flight that you're freaking out about, how am I going to get to X, Y, Z? You can actually spend more time creating things, thinking about your growth plan, all that sort of thing. And from what I'm hearing from you, when we feel that scrambly place, maybe we're already ready for an integrator, at least part-time.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I think if you have an offer that converts, I think that's step one, and then you find yourself spending too much time in the business and not on the business, then I think you're ready to go. And honestly, now that I even say offer that converts, I mean, you might not even need an offer that converts just yet to even have it integrated, because some people just want to go fast. You know, I'm one of those people. I just want to do it. I just want to just run with it. And so I think that, you know, for those people that are very determined, they're very motivated, they know what they want, they have a business idea, they have a business plan, they have a proof of concept, you know, they might even be ready from the get-go, you know.
Oh, I love that outlook, that mindset kind of belief that you have. It's like, it sounds to me from what you're saying that it's like you have this true, I guess, conviction, and you want to go fast. So you're ready to invest now because you know it's going to pay off later. Is that kind of your thought?
Yeah, 100%. I'm very much in the belief, a believer that once you have a goal in your mind, you know, the things that you want to achieve, it's about really stepping into the person that goal is going to create now. So it's really becoming that person today. So what is that person that has already achieved that goal that you've set? What are they doing right now? Who are they spending their time with? What kind of employees do they have? What systems do they have in place? How do they, you know, rock their day to day? What are they doing on a day-to-day basis? Are they reacting to emails that are coming through their inbox? Or are they, you know, making important decisions and being, you know, at the front of their business, making important decisions there? So I think really is that, like you said, it's a mindset that, you know, regardless of whether you are a multi-million-dollar company or you're just starting out, is where is your head at? Where is your head at? Where is your goal? What is it that you want to achieve? And then being the person already today, right now.
Absolutely. I think that is such great advice. And I love how I can hear the conviction in your voice too, like that you've done it before and you've done it multiple times now. It's just, I really, really agree. So the other kind of group that I think that might be listening could be someone who feels like, okay, I'm ready to hire an integrator. I know that's my next best step. I'm feeling confident in that choice. How do I kind of get started? Do I hire from within? Do I hire someone else who could become an integrator for me? What would be their next step, would you recommend?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things here. So the first one is you absolutely can hire from within if you already have an existing team. You can hire from outside as well. So it's totally up to you how the path that you choose. But really, there are things that you really want to be looking out for the person that is going to be sitting in the integrator seat. So certain things that you want to be looking out is this person a natural leader? So you don't really want to be the person, you don't want to have the person that just stands in the corner waiting to be given tasks to do. So the integrator is not just a doer, they're a thinker as well, and they're a proactive thinker. So you want someone that has that kind of natural ability to just go after things and kind of make themselves busy and identify areas in the business where new systems can be implemented and new processes can be put in place to make things more streamlined and you know, all of that good stuff. The other thing that you want them to have is you want them to be a resourceful kind of person. So you want to really identify if the team that you have right now, if you have that one little, you know, that one person in your team that is super resourceful, that they always come up with a solution for any problem, anything that arises in the company that nobody else can see the solution. They always go like, I've just come up with that innovative idea, creative way of just solving this. You know, those are the kind of traits that you're looking at, you know, for that person that will sit in the integrator seat, your right-hand person.
Absolutely. I love those ideas. And I absolutely agree. I think I've worked with in my business with people who have just been kind of waiting every week for these are your responsibilities. Or even these are your tasks. Like I can't just give them a responsibility. They're looking at tasks. And then I've had people who will take a responsibility and they'll really make it their own and they'll be a self-starter. And that is just so much easier to manage. And that sounds like it's really what's required for an integrator to really thrive in your business.
Yeah, 100%. You want someone who is going to take 100% ownership of a project, and is actually going to, the integrator's responsibility is to do exactly that, is to own the project and break the project down into, smaller tasks that they can then ship out to doers. So these would be your VAs, for example, and then they can manage the VA so that the online business owner, they're no longer having to communicate with VAs. They're no longer having to have, training VAs and jumping on Zoom calls and, oh my God, all of that good stuff. That's now
Absolutely.
the integrator's responsibility for sure.
Totally. Okay. Well, I have to ask you, I don't know, maybe this will be too vague a question. We'll do our best. But I know some business owners that might be listening who say, oh, okay, I know I need systems, but I am a creative thinker. I know I can coach well. I know I can sell well, but systems are not my jam. What would you say for someone who's just starting out with their integrator and wanting to kind of get some systems set up? What would be, if they didn't have really any systems in their business, what would you kind of start with? Do you have any ideas of what you might recommend as a first system that you would say, oh, this could help you kind of have a baseline for someone who's maybe a coach or an expert in that industry?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great question as well. I think everyone should be doing this. It's the number one thing. I kind of call it the DAD. So it's essentially the delegate, the automate, delete. So the delegate is just find any tasks that are consuming too much of your time. And these are usually the admin low cost type of tasks that you're doing on a recurrent basis. And if you spot those tasks, record a Loom video, for example, or record a Zoom video and ship it out. Give it to somebody else in your team and ask them to create written procedures for that particular task, because that now is something that gets delegated. Then you can automate other things as well. So those things that you've just delegated out, now they can be automated. So are there things in project management systems like Monday.com and Asanas and Trello's that you can automate so you don't have to do the work? Then you have the aspect of deleting. So analyze everything, like you've mentioned, a really good idea, you gave a really good tip earlier on, which is for the business owner to actually spend some time, maybe a couple of weeks, just noting down and tracking everything that they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And once you've got a list of all of the things that you're spending your time in, then now it's a good chance for you to identify what are the things that are really, really moving the boat forward here. And what are the things that perhaps if I didn't do them, they wouldn't really make a big difference. Well, those are the things that you probably want to be deleting out of your business, because they are just things that you're doing just to tick things off, and you never want to do it just for that sake.
Absolutely. One of the questions that I recommend clients think to themselves on a regular basis is, what would happen if I didn't do this? And if nothing would happen, then that is a clear sign that you could possibly delete it. Now, for example, I'm thinking of, I've had clients before who make these beautiful infographics for their Instagram. And I know my little efficient brain would go, do I really need to get a VA to do this? Is this really recommended? But then I would say, what would happen if I didn't do this? Maybe my content wouldn't be as shared. Maybe people wouldn't see it as much. Maybe they wouldn't be drawn to my level of expertise. So I'm going to keep it. But if it's a task that I realize it's not really actually doing anything, that's an automatic delete for me.
Oh, absolutely. 100% in agreement with that.
Yeah, that is a great, and I love that you just I think a lot about the, delete, delegate, automate, but I love that that's a first system right away that you implement right away in place. So then you can get to those higher level ones.
Yeah, I think it's an easy one that anyone can do. Like you listening right now, you can do that today. You can start that right now.
Absolutely.
So,
awesome. Well, it's been so fantastic talking with you today. I could talk about this all day. It's my favorite. But maybe how about we end on, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to share with the listeners to end this episode?
The pleasure was mine. I had a great time as well. So thank you for inviting me once again. I really think that with the online business world now, there's more and more people coming in. And I would, I think for me is, we see that influx of new businesses coming into the marketplace. And for me, it's just a matter of just getting, Lauren, I've lost my train of thought in here. Can we?
That's okay. For me, it's about like, we know that we're coming in and, it's not just about honing in on your skill and on the thing that you love doing, but having the business and the systems that are going to support you to be able to spend more time doing what you love and what you really enjoy in your business.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
So tell us, where can we find you if the listeners want to find out more about you and if we want to connect with you after this episode?
Of course. So you can find me at annamills.com. So Anna is spelled with only one N. So it's anamills.com, or you can find me on Instagram as well. I am Anna Mills.
Fantastic. Well, we will add those into our show notes. Thank you so much, Anna, for coming on today. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.